Alright, going over your math boxes from yesterday, I want to make this a little bit bigger so that you can see. Here's what I know. On box 1, from here to here was 60 degrees, and that was 2 hours. So what I know is that another 2 hours is also going to be another 60 degrees. But then I'm not going 2 hours. This one, from 4 to 5, so 0 to 2 was 60 degrees. 2 to 4 was another 60 degrees. This time I'm only going 4 to 5. I'm only doing half of that. So this has got to be half of one of these, which would make this 30. So your equation would be something like 60 degrees plus 60 degrees plus 30 degrees. And that's just a simple addition problem. 6 plus 6 is 12, plus 3 more is 15. I get 150 degrees. And if you think about it, that makes a lot of sense because if you went to here, this now becomes a straight angle, and straight angles are 180. You're missing this 30 degrees, which would 180 minus 30 would be 150. Now this next one, there was a lot of dividing to do. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to set up my division. I'm going to set them up on both sides. Over here I told you, oh shoot. So I told you that your number model with unknowns, did it again. Really struggling here today. 4,650. So right here it's going to be 4,650, and the first one I said was divided by 6. Subtract 4,650, and this time divide by 8. That's going to give you boxes. That's also got to be in parentheses. So I'm going to set up both division problems. The first one is 4,650, and I'm dividing by 6. Now when I watch people divide, the problem that I see people doing is you're not thinking that this times this gets you this. It's all about multiplying your partial quotient times your divisor. So when I'm looking at this 46, I'm thinking, what times 6 gets me close to that? Well, if I did 10, then I could do 600, but I can't do 6,000. But if I want to get into the thousands place here, what I do know is I know that 6 times 7 is 42. And now if I add my zeros, 6 times 700 is 4,200. That's a 0, that's a 5, and that's a 4. And that's going to help me out when I get to this next one too, because I already know that 6 times 7 is 42. Do another 7. 6 times 7 is 42. Add a 0. Add a 0, and I subtract. It gets me down to 30. Now, I'm thinking 6 times what is 30? It's 5. I subtract again. And my answer for this first one is 775. So luckily I didn't have any remainders there. Now to do the next one, dividing by 8, now I'm doing 4,650. So this time when I'm doing 8, I know that 8 times 5 is 40. So again, look, 8 times 5, I'm multiplying these to get that. Then I add zeros at the end. I did 2 zeros in there, so I got to do 2 out there. That leaves me with 650. Alright, now, again, this is where it really pays to know your multiplication facts, because I know that 8 times 8 fell on the floor. I picked it up, that's 64. I put a 0, I put a 0, and I subtract 0. 5 minus 4 is 10. How many 8s go into 10? 1, 8, subtract 2. Okay, so this is the remainder that it's going to talk to you about in problem 5. If I do 581 boxes, I'm going to have 2 skateboards left over. So that means we need to round this up, because if I only do 581 boxes, 2 skateboards don't fit in the box. I need that last box, 582, to get all of the skateboards into boxes. And now it becomes a subtraction problem. Excuse me, 775 minus 582. 5 minus 2 is 3. Cross out the 7, make it a 6, make this 17. 17 minus 8 is 9, and 6 minus 5 is 1. So the answer is 193 boxes. Alright, taking a look at these. Box 3, seeing if they're true or false. Okay, because, actually make it one bigger. Because this is tenths and we need hundredths, I'm going to multiply this by 10 and that. 7 plus 40 is 47. This one is false because the answer here would be 47 hundredths. Same deal here. Got to multiply this by 10, multiply this by 10. 70 plus 4 is 74, and the hundredths stay the same. That one's true. This time, I got to add, multiply that by 10, multiply that by 10. Whatever I do to the numerator, I have to do to the denominator and vice versa. So 700 plus 4 is 704, and the hundredths is going to stay the same. This one is false. Same deal here. Multiply by 10, multiply by 10, and we would have 70 plus 40, that's 130. This one's going to be false as well. So filling this one in, you should have false, true, false, false. You only had to pick 2 there. I just did them all because I don't know which 2 you picked. On this last one, first one's super easy, regular subtraction. We're going to have tenths. 7 minus 3 is 4. 6 minus 2 is also 4, so I get 4 and 4 tenths. This one, you know when you're adding or subtracting, you're going to have the same denominator. So what we're really looking at is 7 minus something is 2. That should have been a 3. You only had to pick 3 of these, but I'm going to do them all. Over here, we're looking at what minus 2 and 1/3 equals 3 and 1/3. Okay, so we're going to have thirds. We know that. And what I would look at with this is it's essentially added. Okay? So if you took this, there's a couple options actually here. You could just go with a 5 because a 5 minus 2 is going to be 3. Okay? But then we'd also have to take away that 1/3. So really, like I said, the best way to do this is to add. 3 plus 2 is 5. Okay? 1/3 plus 1/3 is 2/3. And this is how you check that. 2/3 minus 1/3 is 1/3. 5 minus 2 is 3. So to do this one, the best way was just to add in the opposite direction. Taking a look at this one, this is the one that's probably the most difficult to do because we have to regroup from this. So I think down here I would rewrite this like I've taught you. And we know that we're going to have 6. I cross out the 4, it becomes a 3. That 1 that we took becomes 6 over 6. We have 6/6 and 1/6, that's a total of 7/6. Because 4 and 1/6 is equal to 3 and 7/6. Now it just becomes a regular subtraction problem. 7/6 minus 5/6 is 2/6, and 3 minus 1 is 2. So I get 2 and 2/6. So with number 5 down at the bottom, I kind of already talked about that. Basically, what you would be saying down here is explain how you use the remainders in problem 2. That would be saying something like, when I divided 4,650 by 8, there was a remainder 2, which represented 2 skateboards that hadn't been put into boxes. Instead of doing 581, I believe is the, yep, instead of doing 581 boxes, I rounded that up to 582 boxes. Alright guys, that's it. Make sure to check out, I'm going to put up a science video today as well, and a social studies video. Make sure to look at those discussions and answer the question.